Tonight, conservative controversy. What the former Prime Minister knew about Rick Dykstra and why Stephen Harper did not drop him as a candidate. Super Bowl security.
We're out to protect everybody that's trying to have a good time.
The unprecedented measures in place for football's biggest game. Why waking up in the middle of the night isn't just common, it may actually be programmed into your DNA. And teen tech titans.
Technology natives have been around technology since they were born.
A look at a new generation showing the internet who's boss.
Global National with Robin Gill. Reporting tonight, Samantha Falk.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper is weighing in on a sexual misconduct scandal rocking Canadian politics. He admits he knew about assault allegations against MP Rick Dykstra and allowed him to remain on the ballot in the last general election. Our chief political correspondent David Aiken breaks down who knew what and when.
It's Budget Night 2014. MPs gather at a bar near Parliament Hill to mark the occasion. There is a lot of drinking, and at the end of the night, a cab takes Conservative MP Rick Dykstra and a female Conservative political staffer back to Dykstra's Ottawa home where, the woman would later claim, she was sexually assaulted by the MP. Nearly 4 years later, the events of that night, first reported by Maclean's magazine, have many in the Conservative Party furious. Through a lawyer, Dykstra says he did nothing wrong, but former colleagues are denouncing his behavior nonetheless.
Use your noodle. Don't be a jerk. Don't get hammered with a bunch of junior staffers and get in a cab with one of them and go home. I think that's pretty basic understanding of operating principles here.
The junior staffer did file a complaint to the police about Dykstra, and there was an investigation, but no charges. She complained to top party officials who were considering whether Dykstra should be allowed to run for the party in 2015. The debate split the Conservative war room, but ultimately, party leader Stephen Harper gave Dykstra's candidacy the green light. Late Friday, Harper, for the first time, explained his decision in a statement posted on Twitter. I understood that the matter had been investigated by the police and closed. Given this, I did not believe that I could justify removing him as a candidate. Recently, much more information has come to light, including information to the effect that the original investigation may not have been complete. Harper's closest aide, Ray Novak, was also in on the Dykstra decision, and Novak too has now issued a statement saying the wrong choice was made. With the benefit of hindsight and additional information, Rick Dykstra should have been fired as a candidate. Now, in their statements, both Harper and Novak hoped for a more complete police investigation and said they hope the victim, whose identity has not been made public, continues to press her case. Ottawa police are not speaking about that investigation today, but Harper's successor, Andrew Scheer, has opened an investigation to find out how and why his party kept Dykstra on the ballot in 2015. Samantha?
And David, the Liberals now dealing with a similar controversy. I understand a former staff member in Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's office is also facing allegations of improper behavior.
That's right. Absolutely. The individual is Claude-Éric Gagné. He is said to be a longtime friend of the Prime Minister's. He had been working in the Trudeau PMO as the Director of Operations. That's a very senior position. And last November, Gagné took a leave of absence after he was accused of inappropriate behavior while on the job in the PMO. No other details have been released about the allegations. The PMO called in an independent investigator, and that investigation wrapped up Friday. Now, we do not know what the inquiry found, but Gagné has resigned his position, saying his life had become too stressful, and he continues to deny any wrongdoing. As for the PMO today, they are not saying anything more than confirming Gagné no longer works there. Samantha.
All right. Thank you, David. David Aiken in Ottawa for us. The Prime Minister heads to the U.S. next week to meet with local politicians and business leaders to help sell the benefits of NAFTA. But are the right people listening? Our Ottawa Bureau Chief Vashi Kapelas joins us now with more on the trade push. Vashi?
Hi, Sam. That's right. The Prime Minister heads south of the border next week. He'll be hitting 3 stops, Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, and selling that now familiar message that NAFTA is just as good for America as it is for Canada. The Prime Minister and other premiers, other politicians, even government officials have been crisscrossing the United States for the past year, effectively trying to sell that exact message. But is there more they could be doing, or could they be selling it in a different way? We asked former U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Bruce Heyman, his thoughts.
I would go directly to the American people. The term NAFTA is a toxic term, and I would leave that term and put it aside and not talk about it. I talk about the importance of the overall U.S.-Canada relationship that runs the full gambit of international cooperation, international military protection of North America and NATO, what we do in helping those that are disadvantaged around the world.
Now, the Prime Minister's charm offensive is set against a backdrop of more formal NAFTA negotiations. The next and 7th round of those negotiations is slated to take place at the end of this month in Mexico. Sam?
Thanks for that, Vashi. And for more on what Bruce Heyman had to say about NAFTA, tune into the West Block tomorrow morning right here on Global. The Russian military has retaliated after one of its fighter jets was shot down over Syria today. An armed opposition group that once had ties to al-Qaeda claimed responsibility for bringing down the warplane and killing the pilot after the crash. The Russian Defense Ministry claims its military killed at least 30 militants in a strike following the jet's downing. That follows at least 35 other airstrikes on the same region of Idlib province in the past day. Russia is supporting the regime of President Bashar al-Assad and his allies in a major offensive to take control of Idlib, the largest rebel-held area of Syria. U.S. President Donald Trump is applauding the controversial release of a declassified intelligence memo that alleges the FBI overstepped its surveillance authority. The president tweeted, "The memo totally vindicates Trump and the Russia probe," adding, "The Russia witch hunt goes on and on." He went on to call the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election an American disgrace. The FBI says the 4-page document omits key information. Actress Uma Thurman has broken her silence about what happened between her and producer Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, I've been waiting to feel less angry.
In an interview with the New York Times, she says it was such a bat to the head. He pushed me down. He tried to shove himself on me. He tried to expose himself. He did all kinds of unpleasant things. Weinstein has denied all allegations of non-consensual sexual contact. Thurman also says director Quentin Tarantino failed to protect her when she crashed a car during the making of Kill Bill in Mexico. The kickoff for the 52nd Super Bowl in Minneapolis is less than a day away. It is one of the biggest events in sports, and the security presence surrounding it is also enormous. Efforts to prevent any possible terrorist attack have been in the works for about 2 years. As Jennifer Johnson explains, that's because the city has been home to dozens of alleged terror group supporters.
At what may be the coldest Super Bowl ever, other records are being set as the FBI deploys the most federal agents, 1,200, in Super Bowl history. The Twin Cities have recorded the 3rd highest number of terror prosecutions in the U.S. since 9/11, only behind New York and Washington. So authorities are taking no chances.
Since then, our world has changed, and we really need to make sure that as a symbol of our freedom, for Americans to get together and enjoy their pastimes, we have to make sure and ensure that their safety is first and foremost.
Police have added an additional 2,000 officers to patrol. K-9 units are out, along with 400 armed National Guards and Humvees blocking roads. Security measures in the planning stages for almost 2 years.
We've conducted over 200 different security assessments of the critical infrastructure in the surrounding area, and we've hosted about 52 trainings in the area on topics ranging from active shooter through to cyber bombing.
Because of the bitter cold and NFL first, ticket holders can be screened at off-site locations like the Mall of America if they're taking the light rail directly to the stadium.
It's super secure. I mean, you have to go through gates, put everything on a folder, and then just go through the gates. I mean, super secure. Nothing to be worried about it.
The so-called Islamic State has continually called for attacks on large-scale events. 13 Twin City locals have died fighting for terror groups from 2011 to 2014, so no area will be left unpatrolled. In the air, the FBI will use Black Hawk helicopters equipped with infrared cameras. The skies above the stadium now a no-fly zone.
We're out to protect everybody that's trying to have a good time and watch the Super Bowl.
Bomb squad teams will also be patrolling in and outside the stadium, equipped with new tiny X-ray devices to quickly assess any suspicious bags. Measures unprecedented before this Super Bowl, but likely the model for years to come. Jennifer Johnson, Global News, Washington.
And it wouldn't be Super Bowl weekend without an onslaught of over-the-top and star-studded commercials. Some fans even say they watch the game just for the ads, and that ad time doesn't come cheap. The Super Bowl is the most watched event on American television. Sports Illustrated reported this week a 30-second ad comes with a $5 million U.S. price tag. But you don't have to wait until the game to see them. You can get a sneak peek on our website, globalnews.ca/globalnational. From the Super Bowl to a super snowfall. This year, the city of Montreal is dealing with an unusual amount of snow, at least 30 more centimeters so far than the average. And as Amanda Jelowicki reports, with 2 more months of winter still to go, the city's snow dumps are almost full.
It's one of Montreal's largest dumping grounds for snow removal. Towering almost 10 stories high, this pile contains a staggering 23 football fields worth of snow. Problem is, it's only halfway through winter and the dump is nearly full.
If the snow continues to fall, we're going to have to find a place to dump it.
Montrealers are used to tough winters. 4 major snowstorms have already pummeled the city. But Montreal plans snow removal operations for only 5 megastorms each year. Streets are covered in 30 more centimeters of snow than usual. Oh, and did we mention there's 2 months of winter left?
We did remove up to 12 million cubic meters of snow only for this winter. It's huge.
Enraged locals complain snow removal operations have been terrible.
Our street is never clean. It always takes like weeks to get cleaned. It's really hard to get around.
This was the worst. I have to say that the city has done such a poor job at cleaning it up in a quicker manner.
There's no doubt the city stumbled on snow removal this year. Last week, it ordered snow and ice operations to stop. The hope? Warm weekend weather would melt icy surfaces. It didn't, and the ice got worse. One Montreal suburb ignored the order to stop clearing snow and now faces fines.
You cannot wait for it to go away. It doesn't go away like that. It goes away in May. Yes, it goes away in May. Are we going to close down Montreal till May? No.
Many sidewalks remain treacherous. Local hospitals saw a tripling of ice and snow-related injuries this week. This week, Montreal's new mayor responded to critics, admitting the city can do better.
We want is to improve. We want to make sure that citizens are satisfied with the services they're paying for.
With a snowy February forecast, Montrealers will likely have plenty of chances to hold her to her word. Amanda Jelowicki, Global News, Montreal.
Fighting for survival. Why 2 species of Atlantic whales are dying at a rate more than twice the annual average, and what's being done to save them. And also ahead, why waking up in the middle of the night may be the way we are supposed to sleep.
You're watching Global National.
In the desperate search for solutions to the sudden cluster of North Atlantic right whale deaths in Canada and the U.S., a similar tragedy has gone virtually unnoticed. As Ross Lord explains, it affects not 1, but 2 other species of Atlantic whales.
The minke whale is not endangered, but if the recent trouble in the Atlantic Ocean continues, they soon could be. American authorities are investigating why 29 minkies were found along the eastern seaboard last year, 19 of them dead. That's more than twice the annual average. Some of the carcasses had infectious diseases. Others were struck by boats or tangled in fishing gear. Scientists are investigating the sudden die-off.
It takes the whales being in the right place or wrong place with the human interaction. So as we're going through periods of environmental change, there can be changes in where animals are.
That theory, whales moving to different parts of the ocean, also applies to the North Atlantic right whale. They were already endangered before 18 of them died last year, 12 in Canada, forcing the federal government to set a speed limit on large ships in the Gulf of St. Lawrence and impose rules on the amount of fishing rope floating on the surface.
I don't imagine that there will be much tolerance from the fishing industry for members of their industry who choose not to respect these conditions.
A third whale species, the humpback, has suffered 62 deaths or rescue efforts in the past 2 years. But overall, humpback numbers have been increasing. For now, investigators are treating the die-offs of the different species as unrelated. As they work urgently to protect Atlantic whales, they urge mariners and the general public to report what they see, so scientists can continue documenting deaths as they work on ways to keep them safe. Ross Lord, Global News, Halifax.
Why splitting a night's sleep into 2 parts may actually be the way our brains are programmed. That story is next on Global National. We all know getting a full night of sleep is important, but for many of us, it's hard to get the proper amount of shut-eye every night. But as Linda Aylesworth explains, the long-standing idea of getting that perfect stretch of sleep may actually go against our DNA.
Everything with a brain sleeps. It's the amount and how it's done that differs. For humans, 7 to 8 consecutive hours is generally accepted to be what's best for our physical and mental health.
Brains basically experience the world and they rewire themselves based on the conditions of existence that are experienced, and sleep as a process boosts that function.
But as many as 70% of Canadians have trouble sleeping through the night. Turns out the reason could be in our DNA.
Waking up in the middle of the night represents a remnant of a pattern of sleep that had existed for thousands of years.
In other words, we may have inherited our ancestors' segmented sleep habits.
It consisted of 2 intervals bridged shortly past midnight by an hour or so of wakefulness.
So after 4 hours of sleep, they might have filled their wakeful time reading, praying, or doing chores that didn't require much light.
Beyond that, people use the hours of darkness in order to socialize.
Followed by a second sleep phase, which ended when the sun rose. So why did biphasic sleep disappear?
The single most important cause in coalescing our slumber was the increasing prevalence of artificial illumination.
First came gaslight about 200 years ago, then the electric light bulb. Now people could stay up late, leaving just enough time for those 8 hours of sleep with no wiggle room for waking up in the middle. For those who haven't adapted well to monophasic sleep, some simple advice.
Just allow more time for the sleep phase, because then when that period in the middle of the night happens, and it's going to happen eventually to everybody, then there's more time to accommodate it.
In other words, if an actual sleep disorder like apnea has been ruled out, don't fight it. Linda Aylesworth, Global News, Vancouver.
Researchers say it is the total amount of sleep that counts. As Linda mentioned, adults should get 7 to 8 hours, and those who wake up for an hour or 2 in the middle should head to bed that much earlier. For children, the minimum amount of sleep varies from 12 hours for babies to 8 hours for teenagers. Teen techpreneurs, how younger and younger people are dominating the online domain. Egyptian archaeologists are hailing the discovery of a 4,400-year-old tomb near the pyramids outside Cairo. Officials believe the tomb belonged to Hetepet, a high-ranking official close to the royals during the 5th dynasty of ancient Egypt. Giza is most famous for its pyramids, but the site also contains cemeteries that archaeologists have been uncovering for nearly 2 centuries. Teen businesses are no longer just about babysitting and newspaper routes. Young people are launching apps, teaching themselves how to code, getting paid to post on Instagram, and launching YouTube channels. As Inez de la Quatera reports, some teenpreneurs are learning how to be their own boss at a young age and making a lot of money doing it.
It used to be that kids who wanted to make a few bucks set up a lemonade stand.
The flavors are original coconut, mango, strawberry, peach.
But for today's youth, when life gives you lemons, or, well, social media, you launch million-dollar companies using platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
So don't forget to follow me on my social medias to keep up with everything.
Teen magazines that used to look like this are now calling on teens to find their voice, collect hundreds of thousands of followers, and cash in. Trisha Prabhu is using her power to do good.
The young innovator and social entrepreneur.
At just 13, she launched an app to stop cyberbullying after reading about a Florida girl who was repeatedly bullied online and committed suicide.
I didn't want to be a bystander. I wanted to speak out, and that's really how Rethink was born.
Mark and Lori, I'm going to accept your offer.
Right.
The app got this girl boss a deal on Shark Tank at 16. After school, she teaches girls to code, and by now she's also given a number of TED Talks. Trisha's generation may prove to be the most entrepreneurial yet, and they have a significant advantage.
Technology natives have been around technology since they were born, as opposed to the rest of us who've had to adapt and introduce it to our lives.
I have this plaque that says #GirlBoss.
Tech natives are being told, develop your brand. Translation, sell your image. And if high school wasn't hard enough, how are teens coping with this kind of pressure? Parenting expert Sharon Deach says it's crucial parents get involved.
It should never just be the child is doing it on their own, and the parents need to be in there helping and guiding.
She says the new trend can be a great learning experience with minimal risk.
If kids are motivated, we should capitalize on that.
Trisha says she's loving every minute.
Feeling like you've been able to make an impact on people around the world, it's one of the most special feelings that you can have.
The real question, if kids and teens half my age are so successful, what am I doing with my life? Inez de la Quintera, Global News, Washington.
And that is Global National for this Saturday. I'm Samantha Falk. Tonight's Your Canada is Sun Peaks Ski Resort in Kamloops, BC. Email your pictures to viewers at globalnational.com. Robin Gill will be back here tomorrow. Thank you for watching and have a great night.